Okay, go ahead.
Hi, so my name is Mara too, and I am currently a senior at the University of Connecticut. I'm 20 years old and I'm studying environmental science and urban and community studies. And I currently live with Cassie, but I've known Cassie since we were wee little tiny kids, wee lads. I hope you're not using this. Okay, when we were wee lads, and I'm blessed to know her ever since. And I can't believe we're living together now because it's so cute. Okay.
Can you talk about a time when you were especially frustrated trying to learn something, like either in school or somewhere else? And did it involve like a teacher, a friend, a classmate, like a relative or a parent or something?
I can remember many times where I've been frustrated learning something. Um, I think one that comes to mind is I don't actually remember what grade it was, but I'm gonna say I think maybe fifth grade, and we were learning some basic math, and I was really struggling. Was it fifth grade? Yes, I'd say fourth or fifth grade, and I was really struggling with my math. Um, and I remember going to my parents and my sisters for a little bit of help because I actually never went to them for help before when I was younger, but for this I was just really struggling, so I went to them for some help, and I remember that's when I realized I think that um, while my dad knew, both my dad and my sister knew the concepts that we were learning in school, they didn't know how to teach it to me at all, and they also learned the different ways to get to the end result of those math problems in a completely different way than what they were teaching us in school. And both my this might be good to know, but both my parents and my sisters had their early education in China, and they were talking about I remember them reading over the instruction, and they were talking about how it was so different from what they learned. Um, I never finished that homework that night. I do remember that.
Oh, that's really funny. Um, so did you have to like go to a teacher to learn the rest of it, or was it somebody else
I
that?
think I gave up. I think I probably went back to class. I don't remember, but I would assume that I probably went back to class and tried to when we went over the problems, tried to observe how the teachers did it and learned that way because I knew that I wasn't understanding what my parents and my sister were teaching me. Actually, I remember this was a huge fight, and my sister called me really dumb after. But I remember because even though what they were teaching were telling me with the math concepts were really um, basic concepts that they understood, it was so different from what I knew from my schooling. So it just wasn't matching up. Um, but yeah, I think I remember going to school and probably going learning in class how to actually solve the problems.
Yeah, that generational gap, like the way parents learn to do
Mm-hmm.
things, or just like older, like grandparents or even older siblings,
I
and
think
then the
so.
way they teach it now is so different. Like
Yeah.
there's just such a gap in the education, even by like 1 or 2 years, it
A
could be
hundred
completely
percent.
different.
I think also there's also a difference because I did notice. Sorry, this is a completely other topic, but I didn't There's also a complete difference when your family teaches you versus when you're learning in a physical educational environment. Because I used to take art lessons from my sister, and every single art lesson I think I'd walk away sobbing from, and my sister would walk away infuriated.
Oh no.
And it's hard because art is supposed to be calming, and it's something she cared a lot about, and it's something that I really enjoyed. But sometimes families because it's your family, so you sometimes just don't click. I think when it's in a professional, not a professional, but more of a formal environment,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work sometimes. So I
Yeah.
just remember that, and the same thing happened with this math stuff. So I do think the fact that it was my family teaching me did play a role in that.
Yeah.
I think too.
Yeah, definitely. 'Cause
No pressure.
there's no pressure to like be nice to the person you're teaching or make
Mhm.
it like understandable for them in a way.
Mhm.
Not like it would be if you're teaching young students and you're a teacher or something. It's a
I think so
different
too. Yeah, there's
dynamic.
no, and it's interesting because sorry, I'm just gonna go off, but it's interesting because my sister now is a professional, not a professional, but she teaches kids. So she teaches art to kids,
Oh, that's
which
awesome.
is so funny because in my head I'm like, you better not yell at them like you did to me. But I've seen her and she interacts so differently with the kids, but versus what she, not to be like this, but how she treated me,
Hmm.
and it's because they weren't her, like you were saying, like there's no pressure to treat them nicely. Also, there none of the kids like have any excuse to like yell at her. Like I was her younger sister, so I was really annoying with her. So it was definitely a two-way street, I think. There.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah.
I was a brat.
No, I'm sure you weren't, but
No, I was. I know I was.
we all were as kids, honestly.
That's true.
Okay, who was someone that like challenged the way you traditionally learned or viewed education, and how exactly did they do that?
I actually, so when you asked me this yesterday, I was like, I can't think of this, but I actually thought about my time at the museum that I worked at. I think also I didn't begin to appreciate this until after I left the museum. I think a lot more, but you probably know about the museum. So I used to work at the Eli Whitney Museum, which is a workshop slash museum slash summer camp space on the border of Hampton and New Haven. It's a nonprofit organization that focuses on creativity and inviting people into the museum to explore whether it be arts, drama, what's it called, woodworking, tech. Like they have a lot of different programming for kids, and I was an apprentice there, so I'd go in on the weekends and help them make project packs or help them design new projects or figure out some of their educational materials. I think that's the right term for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what I did on weekends, and then during the summer we'd be pretty much camp counselors, where we'd lead our little table and hang out with the kids and help them with their projects and pretty much run the program and help them get through their projects another day, and making sure that students walk away not only with like really cool projects that they can hold on to forever, but also walked away learning something, I think, actually, and working on it's everything. It was working on your social skills, your tactile abilities, your creative processing. It was really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And for me personally, I just kind of viewed it as a job. I didn't view it as anything else really until I left, and I realized how much I actually learned there. I learned that wasn't education based, even though a lot of my coworkers that I worked with, and a lot of what we were learning was what you would say like traditional learning things, but we also learned a lot more like technical skills. Like by the age of 13, I knew how to use a bandsaw. I knew how to what else did I know? I knew how to like paint ratios. I knew how to like do like simple organizational tasks of consolidating materials and stuff like that, and like basic inventory things and how large systems work.
Mm-hmm.
In something like a museum. I learned how not to shoot someone with a staple gun because I almost did that many times.
Nice.
Thank you. I can't think of. And I also learned how. Actually, this is a big one. I learned how to deal with like a terrible boss. I hope you don't tell him or you don't post this. Or, I don't know where this is going, but I hope it's not public because I love my boss. He's great, but also like he made. I don't know. He like made. I was uncomfortable with him. A lot of people were, and he was not that nice sometimes. And he was like he was really moody, and he also was low-key racist a lot, and also maybe sexist.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and as much as I care about him, it is really, really hard to work for him, and like not go like crazy.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it's a hard environment, but it was really interesting. Like now looking back and reflecting on it, like seeing the different processes that were in place to support apprentices and trying to deal with him. We all actually maybe this isn't good. We all collectively like provided each other with strategies on how to work with him as our boss, which I thought was really handy for the future. Education. Oh, but he did, if I will say one thing, he did teach us a lot of, this is what I was saying, he did teach us a lot about what it means. What was the question?
Like how did they change the way you traditionally view education or learn?
Oh, okay. He did really teach us like such a different way of learning,
Yeah.
Because it really was so hands-on and so much of like anyone can learn. Not to quote Ratatouille, but it was like anyone can learn, and he truly did believe that, and he came up with so many creative hands-on ways for that too. And actually I think a big thing that he taught us was the best way by learning is not the best. I don't want to say the best. There's no best. But a really good way to learn is kind of just throwing someone into things, and they'll make mistakes, but they'll learn along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do think that.
Would you say it's more like your role at the museum changed the way you view learning, or was it like your boss specifically, like you having a hand in that process, or was it more like observing him?
I think it's hard because, for me at least, I associate him so much with the museum and my experience there, because he's the one who started the museum and he's the one who created those systems and those structures that were in it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say both, though. I would say both. I think he, as a person, taught me a lot of different things. But without him, the apprenticeship itself and our roles at the museum definitely also created that one-on-one experience. I mean, not the hands-on experience that we had.
Yeah.
We did everything from like customer service things to being like a child caretaker to I was a lawnmower for a long time, to garden maintenance. A lot of those like weird jobs, but
Cool.
definitely learned a lot.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay, so you talked about like learning to lawn mow and just kind of do like random things at the museum. Like, what are some other skills that you kind of picked up in an unexpected way? And did you discover anything about yourself or the way you learn?
Yeah, I could talk about one part, which is really funny. I'm trying to think of unexpected skills. There's a lot of different unexpected skills in there.
It could be anything, not just the museum, but any point in your life.
Unexpected skills. Let me think. Unexpected.
Well, skills that you learned in an unexpected way, I guess.
Skills I learned in an unexpected way. Okay, honestly, I'll just talk about the museum.